Mother goes paranoid, so I'm a 30-year-old male, and my mom has changed over the last year or two when she became a part of this new Christian church down the street from us. I thought nothing of it. It was closer, and it was pretty enjoyable. The pastor there was cool in a way that I thought he could relate. He built computers, and ran a game room on the side, and he liked to drive fast. However, my mom took an avid part in the church so much that she was basically the one to set up, check, and oversee everything organized or ordered or repaired. What was the problem was that now our apartment had become a hub for almost everyone to come into our private lives, as my mom was heavily raised on an open-door type of neighborly attitude, and unfortunately, this has led to her being enveloped in every conversation people would want to have in church groups, including the kind that come of controversial. Over a couple of years, she changed a lot of her private habits, including what she watched, sometimes took food advice from people at the church, and most importantly, began to ask more political questions, while also stating more political idealism around to me. I don't know if she always believed these things, as I keep my hobbies separate from her, and she's always respected that. Most of the time, it's because either it opens up to a discussion about how those activates won't get you anywhere, or you should try reading your Bible more, that will help get you through more than those video games. I play one video game at the most, and even them I've stopped playing it recently. However, one new hobby I've broken into is Dungeons and Dragons. A couple of years ago, I ran into a convention room holding a D&D event, and I've loved it ever since. I started looking around where I live and found a trading card store that has D&D sessions on a weekly basis. Joining it, I finally got the social connection I was lacking for a long time, being able to interact with people my age, and enjoyed the same games, anime, and whatnot was a breath of fresh air I never knew I needed. Not to mention, I was able to express creativity that was sorely lacking. It got to the point where I found the passion to try and start my own story YouTube channel. My mom was supportive of it, finally happy that I was making friends and going out. However, as her idealism started to become more public to me, I was getting concerned that she would become the kind of religious person with some toxic views. This first became noticeable to me when she asked about my opinion about teaching gender pronouns to kids. I've never heard her ask about things like this, and we always tend to keep our personal interests to each other unless one of us asked. Then it stated to get to the point where she basically volunteered me to work on the media of my church. I usually came along to church 3 times a month anyway, so I wasn't really upset. Besides, it opened up my love for photography again. However, just 2 days ago, I was printing out something for my D&D games. It was basically some guide notes for a One Piece themed D&D, and I forgot to get it off the printer, and my mom ended up seeing it. Now I'm sure at this point some of you know about the stigma Christians have had with Dungeons and Dragons, including a certain movie trying to demonize it, but I never believed my mom would believe that, especially since she used to play Mortal Kombat with me and my brother, and still loves action movies like Taken or Jason Bourne. However, I did not trust some of the church people, especially a certain pair, so I gave her the basic explanation of what we were doing, a tabletop role-playing game. I had hoped that this would satisfy her curiosity, and also if she told anyone at the church, they wouldn't be too nosy about it. But sadly, it would not last, as she sees the word devil from devil fruits, and basically goes on a tangent that I'm inviting evil and negative things into my soul. I tried to explain it to her that this was just a game, that none of it is actually bringing in evil, and the part that I printed out was actually talking about hocky, and how to gain techniques in using it. Funnily enough, hocky is training one's will and spirit, and I thought she would see interest in that. But unfortunately, that only made it worse, as they thought that I was not getting enough Bible reading into me, that I needed to rely on that, which I told her wasn't true. Seeing all the stigma that I read coming to life, I just shut her out, not wanting what has actually happened to others in this to happen to me. I'd hoped that she would remember that this has been healthy for me, because it has allowed me to socialize and it was constructive. Not to mention, she still watches action movies with shooting in it, so I don't know where she thinks I'm letting in evil. Today, however, she demands that I come with her to Bible study night tonight, and she wants me to bring the papers with me. I knew where this was going, and it threw me off all day. I knew what her plan was, to show this to the church group, and find people to back her up, and try to talk me down like I was on drugs. But I steeled myself, and told myself that if she actually did that, that I would just walk out. I mean, what was she gonna do? Stop me? But it was even worse. When we arrived, she told me to go to the youth study group. My mind, still hoping that she wasn't gonna do this to me, thought she was talking about young adults, but no, it was kids, and I mean 8-year-olds to 16-year-olds. The only adult, other than the study leader, who was older than me, was her 21-year-old son. Something inside me snapped. I've dealt with a lot of frustrating things my mom has done, but this was truly the most disrespect I have ever felt in my life from her. She couldn't even give me the courtesy to have me sit with the old people and do this. No, it had to be kids. I stormed out, holding in my anger, and almost felt compelled to storm into the chapel and yell at her. Instead, I just went home, where I am typing this out right now, while she's probably wondering where I am. I had a long sob about this after complaining about this to my sister, and I'm seriously thinking about moving out to her if my mom comes home and tries to rip into me about leaving. I don't know what will happen, but I have no intention of being treated like this and just taking it.